Did you know that sometimes the craziest conspiracy theories turn out to be true? Join us as we take a deep dive into 10 conspiracy theories that were once dismissed as mere speculation, but have since been proven to be based on fact. Get ready to have your mind blown. Hello and welcome to our channel. Conspiracy theories have been around for centuries and they often revolve around hidden agendas, government cover-ups, and secret operations. While some of these theories can be dismissed as mere speculation or far-fetched ideas, there are instances where these theories have proven to be true. In fact, some of the most unbelievable conspiracy theories have been confirmed by declassified government documents, leaked information, or through investigative journalism. In this video, we will explore 10 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. From government experiments to political scandals, the truth can be stranger than fiction. So, sit back, relax, and join us as we uncover some of the most shocking conspiracy theories that were eventually proven to be true. 1. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation by the US government in the early 1960s. The plan was developed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff in response to increasing tensions between the US and Cuba. The plan involved staging a series of fake attacks on US soil, such as hijacking planes and attacking ships, and blaming them on Cuba. The aim of this plan was to justify a US military intervention in Cuba, which was at the time seen as a threat to US interests in the region. The proposed false flag attacks were designed to be so provocative and alarming that the American public would support military action against Cuba. The Joint Chiefs of Staff even went so far as to suggest that they could create fake evidence to support their claims. Fortunately, President John F. Kennedy rejected the plan, and it was never carried out. The existence of Operation Northwoods was not made public until years later, when declassified government documents revealed its existence. The revelation of Operation Northwoods shed light on the willingness of some government officials to use deception and manipulation to achieve their political goals. It also raised important questions about the ethics of government decision-making and the potential consequences of unchecked military power. The plan remains a cautionary tale about the potential for governments to abuse their power and manipulate public opinion in pursuit of their own interests. 2. The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment was a clinical study conducted by the U.S. Public Health Service, PHS, between 1932 and 1972 in Macon County, Alabama. The study was designed to investigate the natural progression of syphilis, a sexually transmitted disease that can have serious health consequences if left untreated. The study involved 600 African American men, including 399 with syphilis and 201 without the disease. The participants were told that they were being treated for bad blood, a term that was commonly used at the time to refer to a range of illnesses. In reality, the men were not being treated for their syphilis, and in some cases were actively denied treatment even when it became available. The researchers wanted to observe the natural progression of the disease, so they deliberately withheld treatment from the participants, even after penicillin became widely available as a treatment for syphilis in the 1940s. As a result, many of the men developed serious complications from syphilis, including blindness, heart disease, and death. The study was exposed in 1972 by a whistleblower, Peter Buxton, who informed the media of the unethical practices that were taking place. The revelation led to public outrage and condemnation of the study, which was seen as a gross violation of medical ethics and the rights of human subjects. In response to the controversy, the U.S. government established new regulations for the protection of human subjects in medical research, and the National Research Act was signed into law in 1974. The act established the National Commission for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biomedical and Behavioral Research, which developed the Belmont Report, a foundational document for the ethical conduct of human subjects research. The Tuskegee Syphilis Experiment remains a dark chapter in the history of medical research, and a reminder of the importance of ethical standards in the treatment of human subjects. It also led to greater awareness of the systemic racism and discrimination that was prevalent in American society, and the need for greater protection of the rights and welfare of vulnerable populations. 3. MK-Ultra was a top-secret program of mind control experiments conducted by the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, in the 1950s and 60s. The program was designed to investigate the use of mind-altering drugs, hypnosis, and other techniques for the purposes of interrogation and covert operations. The program involved a series of illegal and unethical experiments conducted on both willing and unwitting participants. Many of the experiments involved the use of psychedelic drugs, such as LSD, which were given to participants without their knowledge or consent. One of the most notorious aspects of MKUltra was the use of brainwashing techniques, which involve subjecting individuals to prolonged sensory deprivation, sleep deprivation, and other forms of psychological torture. The goal of these experiments was to break down the individual's sense of self and identity, and to make them more susceptible to suggestion and manipulation. The program was not only unethical, but also ineffective. Despite years of experimentation and millions of dollars spent, the CIA was unable to develop effective mind control techniques, and the program was eventually shut down in the 1970s. The existence of MKUltra was not made public until the 1970s, when investigative journalists and congressional investigations brought the program to light. The revelation of MKUltra led to public outrage and a call for greater oversight and regulation of government research programs. The legacy of MKUltra is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked government power and the importance of ethical standards in scientific research. It also serves as a reminder of the potential consequences of ignoring the rights and welfare of human subjects in the pursuit of scientific knowledge. 4. The Watergate Scandal was a political scandal that occurred in the early 1970s, during the presidency of Richard Nixon. The scandal began when a group of men connected to Nixon's re-election campaign were caught breaking into the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C. The break-in was initially dismissed as a minor incident, but it eventually led to a series of investigations and revelations that exposed a wide-ranging conspiracy to cover up the crimes and undermine the democratic process. The investigation revealed that the break-in was just one part of a broader effort by the Nixon administration to gather intelligence on their political opponents, which included illegal wiretapping, surveillance, and sabotage. As the investigation continued, it became clear that Nixon himself was involved in the cover-up of the crimes. The discovery of secret tape recordings made in the Oval Office revealed that Nixon had ordered the cover-up and had authorized the payment of hush money to the burglars. The Watergate scandal ultimately led to Nixon's resignation in August 1974, making him the only president in U.S. history to resign from office. Several of his top aides were also convicted and sent to prison for their involvement in the cover-up. The Watergate scandal was a watershed moment in American politics and a major turning point in the history of the presidency. It led to widespread public distrust of government institutions and a renewed emphasis on transparency, accountability, and the rule of law. The scandal also led to a series of reforms designed to strengthen democratic institutions and prevent similar abuses of power in the future. 5. COINTELPRO, short for Counterintelligence Program, was a series of covert and illegal programs conducted by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, between the 1950s and 1970s. The program was designed to infiltrate and disrupt political organizations deemed a threat to national security. The targets of COINTELPRO included civil rights groups, anti-war organizations, and other groups considered subversive by the FBI. The program involved a range of illegal tactics, including wiretapping, blackmail, and the use of informants and undercover agents to spy on and disrupt political activities. One of the most notorious aspects of COINTELPRO was the use of disinformation and propaganda to discredit political organizations and their leaders. The FBI would spread false rumors and plant fake news stories in an effort to undermine the credibility of their targets. The program also involved more extreme tactics, such as the use of violence and assassination plots. For example, the FBI was involved in the assassination of Fred Hampton, the leader of the Black Panther Party in Chicago, in 1969. The existence of COINTELPRO was not made public until the 1970s, when the program was exposed by a group of activists who broke into an FBI office and stole classified documents. The revelation of COINTELPRO led to widespread public outrage and a series of congressional investigations. In response to the scandal, the FBI was forced to shut down the program and implement new guidelines for the conduct of domestic intelligence operations. The revelations also led to greater awareness of the need to protect civil liberties and the rights of individuals and organizations to engage in political activities without fear of government interference. The legacy of COINTELPRO is a reminder of the dangers of unchecked government power and the importance of protecting civil liberties and the right to dissent in a democratic society. 6. The Iran-Contra affair was a political scandal that occurred during the presidency of Ronald Reagan in the 1980s. The scandal involved a secret plan by the Reagan administration to sell weapons to Iran in exchange for the release of American hostages held in Lebanon, and to use the proceeds from those sales to fund anti-communist rebels in Nicaragua. The sale of weapons to Iran was illegal under U.S. law, as Iran was considered a state sponsor of terrorism at the time. Additionally, the U.S. had imposed an embargo on arms sales to Nicaragua, which made the use of the proceeds from the Iranian arms sales to fund the anti-communist rebels in Nicaragua also illegal. The scheme was orchestrated by members of Reagan's National Security Council, including Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. The scheme involved the use of secret offshore bank accounts to transfer the proceeds from the arms sales to the anti-communist rebels in Nicaragua, who were known as the Contras. The scandal was exposed in 1986 when an Iranian newspaper revealed the details of the arms sales to Iran. The revelation led to a series of congressional investigations, which exposed the illegal nature of the scheme and the involvement of high-ranking officials in the Reagan administration. The Iran-Contra affair led to the conviction of several top officials, including Oliver North and National Security Advisor John Poindexter, although their convictions were later overturned on appeal. The scandal also led to widespread public outrage and a loss of public trust in the Reagan administration. The legacy of the Iran-Contra affair is a reminder of the dangers of unchecked government power and the need for greater transparency and accountability in government decision-making. The scandal also exposed the complexity and moral ambiguity of American foreign policy, and the potential consequences of using covert operations to achieve political goals. 7. The Gulf of Tonkin incident was a pivotal moment in the Vietnam War and a key event in American political history. It occurred in August 1964, when the U.S. Navy claimed that 2 U.S. warships had been attacked by North Vietnamese forces in the Gulf of Tonkin. The U.S. government used the alleged attack as a justification for the escalation of the Vietnam War, and President Lyndon B. Johnson authorized a massive bombing campaign against North Vietnam in response. Congress also passed the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, which gave the president broad powers to use military force in Vietnam without a formal declaration of war. However, the details of the incident were later called into question, and it was revealed that the second attack, in particular, did not actually happen. The incident had been exaggerated and even fabricated by the U.S. government and the military to justify their involvement in Vietnam. The revelation of the Gulf of Tonkin incident as a manufactured event sparked widespread public outrage and led to a re-evaluation of the government's involvement in the war. It also raised questions about the ethics of government decision-making and the potential consequences of unchecked military power. The legacy of the Gulf of Tonkin incident is a reminder of the importance of independent and critical thinking in evaluating government actions and the need for greater transparency and accountability in decision-making. It also highlights the potential dangers of propaganda and misinformation in shaping public opinion and justifying military intervention. 8. The Manhattan Project was a top-secret research program during World War II that led to the development of the first atomic bombs. The project was a collaboration between the United States, the United Kingdom, and Canada, and was led by physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer. The project was initiated in 1939, when Albert Einstein wrote a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt warning him of the potential for a new and powerful weapon that could be developed by the Germans. This led to the creation of the Advisory Committee on Uranium, which eventually became the Manhattan Project. The project was a massive undertaking that involved the work of thousands of scientists, engineers, and technicians. The research was conducted at a number of sites across the U.S., including the secret laboratory at Los Alamos, New Mexico, where the bombs were ultimately designed and assembled. The first atomic bomb was tested in July 1945, in a remote area of New Mexico known as the Trinity Site. The bomb was then used in combat against Japan in August of that year, when 2 bombs were dropped on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, leading to the deaths of an estimated 200,000 people. The Manhattan Project was a remarkable achievement of science and engineering, but it also raised important ethical questions about the use of atomic weapons and the consequences of unchecked technological progress. The project also paved the way for the development of nuclear energy and the nuclear arms race that dominated the Cold War era. The legacy of the Manhattan Project is a reminder of the potential for scientific research to have both positive and negative consequences, and the need for responsible and ethical decision-making in the development and use of new technologies. 9. NSA surveillance, also known as the National Security Agency surveillance, refers to the program of monitoring and collecting electronic communications and data, including phone calls, emails, and text messages, of both U.S. citizens and non-citizens, both domestically and internationally. The program was initially authorized by the U.S. Congress in the wake of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, as a part of the effort to prevent future attacks. However, the extent of the program's activities was not publicly known until 2013, when former NSA contractor Edward Snowden leaked classified documents that revealed the scope and scale of the program. The revelations caused a major controversy, as many people felt that the program was a violation of civil liberties and privacy rights. Critics argued that the program was unconstitutional, and that it allowed the government to engage in unwarranted and unchecked surveillance of its citizens. In response to the controversy, several legal challenges were brought against the program, and the U.S. Congress passed the USA Freedom Act in 2015, which imposed new limits on the NSA's ability to collect and analyze electronic communications. The legacy of NSA surveillance is a reminder of the potential for government overreach in the name of national security, and the importance of balancing security concerns with civil liberties and privacy rights. It also highlights the importance of transparency and accountability in government surveillance programs, and the need for public oversight and regulation to ensure that these programs are conducted in a lawful and ethical manner. 10. Operation Ajax was a covert operation conducted by the United States and the United Kingdom in 1953 to overthrow the democratically elected government of Iran and install a pro-Western government led by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The operation was launched in response to the nationalization of Iran's oil industry by Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, which was seen as a threat to Western economic interests in the region. The CIA and MI6 worked together to orchestrate a campaign of propaganda and disinformation, and to bribe and threaten Iranian officials and military officers to support the coup. The coup was successful, and Mossadegh was arrested and imprisoned, while the Shah was reinstated as the leader of Iran. The coup was widely criticized by many Iranians, who saw it as a violation of their country's sovereignty and an interference in their internal affairs. The legacy of Operation Ajax is a reminder of the potential for Western powers to manipulate and interfere in the affairs of other countries for their own political and economic interests. It also highlights the consequences of such actions, including the perpetuation of political instability and the potential for anti-Western sentiment and backlash. The coup in Iran ultimately contributed to the rise of Islamic fundamentalism and the Iranian Revolution of 1979, which led to the establishment of an Islamic Republic and strained relations between Iran and the West for decades. So, there you have it, 10 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. While not all conspiracy theories are true, it's important to keep an open mind and do your own research before dismissing them. Please subscribe, like the video and hit the bell icon below to turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss any interesting videos like this. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.